You have several options if you want to play an audio file programmatically within your application. This video demonstrates the use of the system.media.soundplayer class. The second video will demonstrate how to use the Windows Media Player control. The difference between the two methods is that the system.media.soundplayer class is native to the .NET Framework class library, so any computer that can run your application is sure to be able to play your audio file. However, it doesn't have stop, start, pause, fast forward, and other mechanisms that allow the user to interact with the playback experience. The Windows Media Player control has the familiar interface of Windows Media Player, complete with the playback controls. However, it relies on the existence of Windows Media Player being installed and in working order on the user's computer, which unfortunately is not always a safe assumption. Additionally, it is a COM component which requires .NET to perform a series of interpretations between the older COM technology and the newer .NET technology. Now, this process is also called interopt, and while .NET makes it easy working with the older COM technology, still it's not exactly as efficient or convenient as working with a pure .NET class. In this example, we'll show how to tell the system.media.soundplayer class which file we want to play and how we want to play it. We'll also allow the user to stop playback of the sound. So let's go ahead and run our application. You can see that I've created a sample application called Audio Part 1 CS. We'll run the application. And unfortunately, due to the recording software, you may not be able to hear the sound that I'm hearing in my headphones as I'm recording this. However, it keeps playing the ta-da sound that you might be familiar with from Windows 95 or Windows 98. When we want to stop the sound, we click on the stop button. Now you'll notice that there's two play sound buttons. The first one is playing the sound from the embedded resources for our project, and we'll show how to do that in just a moment. And the second is playing a sound that it locates off of the local user's hard drive. So one of the first things that I did was add our tada.wave file that you can see here in our resources folder. I wanted to add that as a resource into our project. So I double-clicked the Properties page within our Solution Explorer, and I went to the Resources tab on the left-hand side and dragged the tada.wave file into the empty area under Audio. You can see there's several different types of resources that we can add to our project. So I selected Audio and then dragged and dropped the tada file into that area. Now I can access this file using the properties.resources class within the .NET framework, and we'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the code for our example. I'll double-click one of the buttons here. You can see the very first thing that we do is create a reference to the system.media.soundplayer class. So we're creating a new instance of this, which I'm calling Media Sound Player. And then with our Play Sound Resources button underscore click event, you can see that we're accessing the tada sound from our resources in a rather strongly typed way. It automatically created resources.tada for us, simply by virtue of our the process of our dragging and dropping our WAV file into the resources for our project. And we use that as the input for our Media Sound Player class. Here we're going to set the stream that's returned from properties.resources.tada to the stream property of our instance of the system.media.soundplayer class. And then in order to enable the playing of the file, we simply call play or play looping. Now play looping will continue to play the file until we programmatically tell the system.media.soundplayer class to stop playing it. The other option is to simply play it once by using the play method. The second example, we're playing the sound from a path on the user's hard drive. So in our Play Sound Path button underscore click event, here we're hard coding a path on the user's hard drive. And this assumes that we're using Windows XP. If you're using Windows 2000, there might be a different path that you may need to follow in order to find this file. And ideally, if this were not just a sample bit of code, you would want to allow the user to select this, or we might use one of the special environment enumerations to find the correct folder where this file might be saved. But at any rate, we've hard-coded it into a local variable called to.path, in which we store a reference to the location on our hard drive where this file is. Then we simply set that location to the sound location property of our instance of the system.media.soundPlayer class, and then once again call the play looping method. Finally, whenever we call the stop method, whenever we click the stop button, we call the stop method on our instance of the system.media.soundPlayer class. So as you can see, this was a fairly straightforward approach to playing a WAV file. However, we're a bit limited when using this class. We can only play WAV files. If we want to enable the user to select other types of media files like MP3, WMA, WMV, and so on, we'll have to use the Windows Media Player controls, which we're going to demonstrate in part 2 of this video.